Hi, I'm John.
And I'm Lou, and this is an IT SPARC Cast. Hot
Hot
take.
take.
Okay, so what's going on, man?
So there's been a number of things that have hit the news recently, and Lou and I have been talking about them individually, and then they came together and we had a kind of a meeting of the minds today, and we decided to talk about it. So the pieces of news are that the chief product officer from OpenAI joined the board of directors for Cisco. And then recently there was an interview where the CEO of Snowflake was at a conference and he interviewed Sam Altman, the CEO and founder of OpenAI. And they started talking about the evolution of, of AI. When would we see AGI and super AGI? And a number of things came from this. And what we started talking about was how does this apply to specifically to networking?
Well, networking in enterprise in general, but
Right.
really, a question was asked of me earlier this week that also sort of sparked this, which is what's coming next? What are
Right.
we actually doing here? And John and I, between us, this is just totally a hot take. We're not going off notes. We're just interacting with each other. What is coming? What is going to impact you? And there's a couple of things I can think about. I'm going to go ahead and start it off, John.
Go
And
ahead.
I'm going to say, first of all, do you care about your network operating system? Do you care about your desktop operating system? Do you care about your cloud operating system? No, you
Right.
do not. All right. If you are still in a world where Cisco iOS, Extreme XOS, whatever Aruba's running this week, Arista OS are your guide stars, you have got to rethink your position. It is not going to be a thing. It is
Yeah.
not going to be a thing.
Today it probably matters, but tomorrow, meaning that a year from now, 6 months from now,
You
two
should
years
be
from now,
moving off of this.
correct.
You should be, and I would say the same for desktop operating systems. And the reason I say that is it's really interesting in what Jonathan Ive is up to.
Yeah.
I think that the concept we've gotten, and the reason I'm addressing this is because we're networking, we're in IT, we're geeks, right?
Yeah.
We care about these little details. We care about whether or not we can shave 10 microseconds off a context switch inside a kernel. We care about memory utilization. We care about whether we do OSPF or ISIS, right? But really, ultimately, it doesn't matter
Right.
because we are moving into a space where smart stuff is what we're going to have.
Smart stuff.
Smart stuff.
Yeah.
So somebody asked me at Barber, as a matter of fact, what's after AI? And I thought about it and I'm like, we've really been working for this since the 90s, since expert systems.
Yeah. And
Smart
connected thing.
connected things, right? Personal
Right.
area networking was hot when I was working for one vendor. It's going to be all of that, but you're not going to think about it.
Right.
For example, my barber, when I was talking to her, I said, imagine that I come to your shop and you're clipping a customer and the shop has a camera in it and knows I'm next to you because there's three people. Your clippers are going to have a little display on them that say, Lou's next, here's how he likes his hair,
Yeah.
right? It's going to be me sitting down in my living room and it's a little hot and my fan knowing, oh, it's warm. I'm going to turn on automatically generate a breeze. Now, by the way, I have that. I put that in a week and a half ago. And that really made me think it's going to be the little beautiful things. How will this impact us in the enterprise space, John?
So it's interesting is that it'll decide, that congestion is heavily over certain paths and redirect. It'll decide that we need to use a different protocol in certain cases. It's going to decide that an access point is overheating or its temperature threshold is at a certain point. So maybe we need to RMA it and automatically do that. And then maybe a human needs to get involved to actually make that change. things along those lines that today humans have to get involved in. And some of those little pieces are being promised by some of the networking vendors, but we're talking holistically here. It just needs to happen. And the problem is going to be the older network admins like Lou and I, to be honest, that are going to be resistant to this. So
we're not.
But we're not. But people like us at our age, to be honest. So here's an example. I had a ride to the airport. I hired a car to take me to the airport, and I was talking to the driver about the fact that these automated, self-driving cars were coming, and that eventually, what was that going to mean for his job? And he just totally said that it's never really going to be a thing, and that people are going to want a human to be driving the car to take them to the airport. And I was like, okay. As I understand that we're talking about his job, and I didn't want to push it and say your job's going away, dude. But at the end of the day, his job's going to go away. And those people that are 45, 50, 55 years old right now that are running the network, and they know every piece of code and every config inside those files, and they manually entered some of those configs into those config files, they're going to be resistant to this. But at the end of the day, those are the same people. Those are the same people that are saying, I don't want self-driving cars all over the place. And those are the people that are saying, I still want a manual transmission and, all of that. At the end of the day, these are going to be a highway full of self-driving cars is a safer highway.
And it's
inarguable. You cannot argue against that. It is inarguable. A network that is fully automated, once this happens, and you know what's going to get us there? It's not going to be Cisco. It's not going to be HPE. It's not going to be Extreme. It's not going to be Arista. It's going to be open source.
I agree completely. And we saw this happen. Like we saw a recent attack on Russia by Ukraine, all open source.
The drones were controlled by open source. Well, let's not get into the politics of that. But the original designers of that open source software never expected it to work at that level, at scale. But that's what's going to happen when you start seeing all these open source operating systems for switching and eventually for access points. Access points is where it's tricky right now because every access point is a proprietary black box right now. That's got to open up. That's going to start happening.
2 chipset vendors, right?
2 chipset vendors, right?
You've got Qualcomm and you've got Broadcom.
And you can, Marvell, you can flash them.
True. Okay.
But they a lot of them are being flashed these days. So you can take that on. You can get effectively white box access points. So that's where this is going to start changing. So as you're looking at a network refresh, you need to start thinking about white box options, open source operating systems, and open source management tools, because that's where it's going to go. And you start throwing smart LLM-based agentic operating systems on top of this, and I tell you what, this is coming faster than you think.
Way faster.
And I guarantee you that's why Cisco put OpenAI's chief product officer on their board of directors, because they see it coming.
Think about it this way. Right now, when we're in the networking space and the enterprise software space, we think in terms of data flows. We think in terms of access. We think in terms of Wi-Fi versus wired. Really, that doesn't, I would argue even now that doesn't matter. 99% of your traffic is going north-south anyway. It's going up to the cloud. Now, we've seen a pattern emerging recently. The cloud's gotten expensive and we're starting to see flows back into the data center. But instead of thinking about my stuff versus your stuff, what you're going to be thinking about, what you should be thinking about now is, who is this individual? What are they trying to do? That's it. And when you go to set up your infrastructure, you're going to get a box. Do I trust this box? Yes. Okay, it's entered the trust relationship. Off you go. Do you care if it's EIGRP or OSPF or SPBM or VXLAN, BGP, EVPN? Who cares?
Right.
I don't care anymore.
No.
It's whatever.
My packets need to get there. That's all I care about.
That's all I care about. Are my packets getting there in the best way? And to be honest, An algorithm can watch the system far more closely than you can. An algorithm can watch for trouble popping up far better than you can. And what has been killing us up to this point is every company wants their algorithm to win. The first company that says we're just going to get the job done is going to be the one that wins. And you're not going to buy a network, you're going to buy an orchestration system.
100%. Or you're going to build an orchestration system out of an open source environment.
It could be, you're 100% right. This stuff could be built today by somebody like us.
Yeah, 100%.
If we decided to do it. Why aren't we doing it? We're lazy. But just to say, you're going to see this come in everything. You're going to see this come in your analytics, right? It's all going to be containerized. Portions of it are going to run inside your network. Portions of it are going to run in convenient computing. Maybe even company cell phone that's just sitting there not doing anything. You're not going to think about it. This is coming.
It is coming.
It is coming. We're going to put a stake in the ground right now and say, if you're not paying attention to this, you're going to get run over.
100%.
Now,
we do want to hear from you on this. We want to get your opinions on this. Are we completely wrong? And you know what? If you think we're wrong, kind of think about your age and how long you've been in the industry, and maybe let us know that as well. And I'm gonna guess the younger skew is gonna agree with us, and the older skew is, and putting myself in that. I'm opening up. I'm in my mid-50s. All right,
I'm 60.
And so on our side of the equation, you're going to disagree with us more than the younger skew, but let's just see where that goes. But that is going to wrap up this episode, and we do want to hear what you think. So send email to feedback@itsparkcast.com or hit us up on X, and happy to get into a back and forth either there. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment down below, and we will get back and forth there. We do read every single piece of feedback and comment that we get. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, turn on notifications. That will make sure you know every time we drop a video on YouTube. With that, we're going to turn you back to your day. From the world of enterprise IT, take care.